2026 is a great year, a transition year where we're seeing the large banks embrace Bitcoin. We're launching all these digital credit products like Stretch to retail investors and retirees and corporate treasurers and financiers. And that's a great new group of supporters for Bitcoin. We've got probably the most supportive set of financial regulators in the history of the industry, going into the Fed, at Treasury, at the CFT, the SEC. So, and we've got the Clarity Act soon to be passed, which is just very enormously legitimizing for the entire industry. So I'm just looking forward to the advance and the expansion of the industry as it integrates into the mainstream financial world.
For years, Bitcoin was dismissed as speculative, risky, even irrelevant, but now it's being adopted by corporations, discussed by governments, and integrated into the global financial system. Saylor believes we are witnessing the rise of a new form of digital property, one that could outperform traditional assets over the long term. According to Saylor, the coming years aren't just about price movements, they're about a complete shift in how value is stored and transferred. Bitcoin is no longer on the fringes, it's moving to the core of the financial world. If you find this video interesting, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.
I think that what's going to happen is we're going to use the first layer of Bitcoin as digital capital. I think you're going to see an explosion of digital credit at the second layer. I think that you're going to see digital money or digital currency at the third layer. And the third layer is going to be called a Bitcoin-backed stable coin, or it's going to be a savings coin. It'll be like the dollar. You'll be able to move it around as a medium of exchange. It'll be integrated into all of the trillions of products and services that are priced in dollars, and all of the hundreds of millions of companies that take and spend dollars. But it will offer a much stronger yield, more like a 6, 7, 8% yield, which outstrips the cost of inflation. And that'll be strong, high-powered money built on Bitcoin. I think that everybody that takes a dollar anywhere in the world will have that. You'll be able to convert that into dollars and pay for anything.
Just auto convert. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what we're seeing is digital currency is primarily going to be the dollar. I think the dollar is spreading everywhere in the world, and it's replacing the euro, the pound, the yen. Pretty much in Europe, people don't want the euro, they want the dollar. So the dollar is actually emerging as the global currency. The dollar on digital rails is the crypto or digital version of it. But the big breakthrough now is the ability to create a digital currency that's backed by Bitcoin that offers yields that are 2, 3, or 4 times higher than currencies backed by fiat. Because Bitcoin represents economic empowerment to everybody on the planet. Bitcoin represents a protocol for economic prosperity. It's kind of like we're speaking English and you're saying, well, what if people stop speaking English or just stop speaking? What if people stop speaking to each other? I don't think they're going to stop speaking to each other. If you had Arabic math or you had math, you said, what if people stop using math? I think they'll keep using math. I think they'll keep using English. I think they'll keep using Bitcoin because people need math to create machines that work and to engage in commerce. And they need language to coordinate with each other. And they need Bitcoin if they're going to engage in rational economic transactions. So it won't fail. I think that there'll be a group, the people, the companies and the individuals and the large holders and the advocates and the developers will continue to carry forward the Bitcoin ideology. And of course, any technician will understand the Bitcoin technology. But I think we're headed toward a world where there's 1 billion people that just want a bank account that pays them 8%. It's like 6-year-old girl, 75-year-old retiree. What they're going to know is that digital money is powered by Bitcoin. And it's kind of like your electricity came from a nuclear reactor and you don't really know how to create a nuclear reactor, or you don't know how tricky it is, but it's like really good, cheap electricity. And so I really think that as Bitcoin spreads, what you're going to have is a group of people that understand very intricately the technology. But the great masses of people, it's like, they don't want to know how the plane works. They don't want to know how the car works. They don't want to know where the electricity comes from. They don't want to know how their food was prepared. Like most people don't know, how you create a Coca-Cola beverage or, how do you create these things? Nobody knows how to make an iPhone. All they know is that they've got this insanely good product that solves the problems in their life, and it's based upon superior technology. Yeah, there's no telling what they'll do, but one thing we know is they're going to want to move money at the speed of light, and they're going to want to engage in commerce at the speed of light. They'll want to move a million times faster than any kind of analog or human limited system would move. And so if you want all of these digital systems to reach their full potential, you need a digital network, digital capital, digital currency, digital authentication, digital networks. And you need to do it natively in cyberspace. You can't have something which is not a native cyber asset that's a bearer instrument with final settlement. And so Bitcoin offers final settlement as opposed to conditional settlement. And so the difference between final settlement is the difference between an energy-rich environment in cyberspace or just the shadows or silhouettes of energy. If you want to do something that's real and substantial, you're going to need to move digital capital, digital property, digital currency that doesn't rely on a custodian in the real world for final settlement.
Michael Saylor's message for 2026 is simple but powerful. Stay optimistic. Big technologies often struggle for years before they suddenly start working all at once. He compares it to speech recognition, which took decades of failure before it finally became accurate and useful. In the same way, the digital financial system has been developing quietly for over a decade. According to Saylor, 2026 could be the moment when everything finally comes together. He believes Bitcoin won't fail because it's built on something fundamental math, and people will always need a reliable way to exchange value. Just like English became a universal language for communication, Saylor sees Bitcoin becoming a universal language for money.
Yeah, well, I think number one, AI is going to radically transform every product and service and every role in our civilization. And, one of the more negatives is it's demonetizing human capital. It's like if your company had 15,000 trained professionals, it's more challenging because it's possible the AI might start to automate out 8,000 of those jobs. But on the other hand, as it demonetizes human capital, it accelerates the transition of capital to digital capital. So it's monetizing digital capital, and that's what Bitcoin is. So broadly speaking, as you see this develop, it's driving a lot of wealth into digital capital. I think that's positive. I think there are a lot of interesting applications of AI. In theory, you can create an AI that's transnational. You can capitalize it with Bitcoin. You can release it to the universe, and it can become autonomous. And you couldn't capitalize an AI with fiat currency or any kind of conventional security portfolio. So you may see autonomous creatures or autonomous actors that are capitalized with Bitcoin going forward. That would be interesting. I think it's inevitable that the AIs will do things faster and more sophisticated. So in a world of a billion AIs, talking to a billion AIs a billion times an hour on Saturday night, they're going to bypass conventional analog assets, and they're going to bypass traditional financial systems, and they're going to want to move digital assets, digital currency, digital capital around on a digital standard. And of course, the two things that Bitcoin offers that are just really important are it offers an uncorruptible network of capital or source of capital. So it is that, but also it offers an immutable global source of truth and integrity. So I think the AIs will want to use that for authentication. I also think that if the AIs begin to imitate us in phishing attacks, then the importance of cryptographic verification will become more important. And so authentication and verification cryptographically will start to absorb its authenticity or derive its authenticity or veracity from the Bitcoin network underlying, because the Bitcoin network and Bitcoin transactions are the gold standard of authentication and veracity. So I think in this era, Bitcoin and all the underlying things it represents are going to grow more and more important to the digital economy. I think I would allocate a lot of time to learning how to use AIs. I would probably pick a few. I would cycle through them. I would test them, and I think I would be challenging them to do something very, very useful. Push them. If you're a musician, try to compose a song, then try to compose an album. Right? If you're an artist, first try to compose the picture, then the comic book, then the book, then the television show, then the movie, then the TV series, right? Pushing harder and harder. For us, how do we compose a credit instrument that we can sell billions and billions of dollars of? Right? How do we build the best one? How do we build the best one and make sure that there's massive global adoption? Right? You want to do something with the AIs. And it's if it almost does something, then it's not that interesting. But if you keep pushing and you find a way to get it to do the thing, it's a 0 to 1 moment. And so right now you have to consider that pretty much every product and service and idea that's ever been implemented in the history of the world, you may be able to re-implement better. And a host of millions or tens of millions of ideas that have never been practical to implement are now practical. And I think you want to be the first person to figure out how to do something new and useful. And the only way to be the first person to figure out how to do something is try to do something, right? So I think, and if you can't do it this month, in 4 weeks, you might be able to do it. So we're at this very pivotal transition point where every few weeks, something that was not workable ever in the history of the world all of a sudden becomes technically practical, right? I remember at MIT 40 years ago, the AI lab, they were trying to get speech recognition to work and try to talk to computers, get the computers to talk back. They spent 40 years. And then they spent years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, a year ago, click, it started working. And we're just about to get to the point where not only will it work, it'll work instantly. And the person that you talk to will have like almost instant awareness of everything. And so technology fails until it succeeds. My advice is attempt to do something that's really important to you and just keep trying. Use every possible tool in every possible mode and keep at it. At some point, you'll actually make a breakthrough. You can remake the world for the better using digital capital, digital assets, digital intelligence, and digital technology this decade. And every single thing that we look around at, everything in our lives, whether it's a financial thing or it's an education thing or it's a logistics thing or it's a product or a service thing, every single thing can be dramatically improved, made better, made cheaper, made stronger, made faster. And I think probably this decade, this coming 10 years, presumably this is the decade of the greatest number of innovations that create the greatest amount of prosperity for the human race of any 10 years in the history of humanity. So if you're sitting around thinking you missed it, you're too late, all the things have been invented, you wish you had done the iPhone or the Facebook or the whatever, you haven't missed it. You're not too late, right? The world has handed you all of these brilliant tools. An 18-year-old can go and they can grab any AI and they can grab any digital asset and they can try any idea and they'll probably find support for it somewhere. X lets you reach millions or tens or hundreds of millions of people. You've got digital communication, you've got digital commerce, you've got digital assets, you've got digital intelligence. It's a digital world and it's a better world. So I would encourage everybody just to go out and do something. In fact, all of the digital credit instruments we created, we did $8 billion of issuance of digital credit last year, approximately. They were all created with AI. And so Stretch, which is the premier digital credit that I think we'll use to create all sorts of digital money and digital currency type instruments, that would not exist without AI. So we use AI a lot in designing securities and in capital market strategies. You know, I use AI sometimes if I'm going to say something and I have it edit my syntax and check and make sure that I spelled everything correctly. Sometimes I'll take an image and I'll post it in the AI and say, I think I want to say this, but do you agree? And it'll tell me, well, you could say it better this way. If you said it this way, it's more like Michael Saylor. So the AI will actually correct me and tell me how Michael Saylor would really say the thing,
Oh, that's wild.
which I find to be amusing.
Is it right, usually?
Yeah, oftentimes it's actually right. It actually tells me how to be me better than I would be me.
Michael Saylor closes his message with a powerful idea. We are entering a moment where technology, especially AI, is about to unlock possibilities that were impossible for decades, and those who take action now could benefit the most. He explains that AI is already transforming how things are created, from financial products to communication. In his own experience, AI helps him refine ideas, improve how he speaks, and even think more clearly. But this is just the beginning. He believes AI will reshape every job, every industry, and every product in society. While this may replace many traditional roles, it also shifts value toward digital assets, especially things like Bitcoin, which he sees as the foundation of a new digital economy. Saylor goes further by imagining a future where AI systems operate independently, interacting with each other at incredible speed. In that kind of world, traditional financial systems won't be fast or efficient enough. Instead, these systems will rely on digital networks and digital currencies that can move instantly and securely. That's where Bitcoin becomes critical. It offers a system that is secure, transparent, and doesn't rely on any central authority. But the most important part of his message is not just about technology, it's about mindset. He emphasizes that breakthroughs don't happen instantly. For years, technologies like speech recognition failed again and again until suddenly they worked. And now we're seeing the same pattern with AI. Things that seemed impossible just months ago are now becoming real.